me and see me, but I was unable to see him. So that's why I came back to Facebook. All right, let me see. Let me see. He's just asking me if I've switched. Halima, welcome to the program. So I was just explaining that we had to move back to Facebook because we had technical difficulties with the YouTube. YouTube is still on. However, George was able to view me. He was able to hear me, but I couldn't see him and I couldn't view him. So that's why we're back here. So let's see. George, if you're here, okay, actually, he said, I'm right here. All right, so click on the link, George. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the program. Hello, Halima. George, you can click on the link I sent you so that way you can join as a guest. And welcome, everybody. Let me see. Let me notify people that we're on Facebook because everybody was thinking about YouTube. However, I still left YouTube on in case because of the technical difficulties we're having. So like I explained earlier on, George was able to see me and he was able to hear me, but I could not see him and I couldn't hear him. George, if you're there, can you click on the bring me on as a speaker? I already sent you the hello, Princess Abike, welcome to the program. So I was just explaining that we went on YouTube. However, George was not able to, or actually I was not able to view George. He was able to see me, he was able to hear me, but I couldn't, you know, see him. So I left YouTube on. However, we came back to our second option, right? We can always have two options, right? So if YouTube is, you know, giving us difficulties right now, we can always make do with what we have with the Facebook. So welcome, Dr. Fabio, welcome, Dr. Taufik. You all are welcome to the program. So I was just explaining that we went on YouTube. However, my Baddest Economist was not able to, I was not able to see him. I was not able to hear him. He was able to view me. He was able to hear me. So I left the YouTube on, but I'm bringing him over. I see that he's on here. So I already sent him a link. So he should be joining us shortly, or he's trying to maybe update his Facebook or something, because remember, we planned to go on YouTube because he was more comfortable with the YouTube. So how is everybody doing? I hope everybody's doing well. So let's see. Let's listen to a little bit of music before we figure out what's going on. Eh? When you more fine, girl? Eh? I said, tell me how you do. George, if you're here, let me know. Eh? I know I saw him before, but I don't know what's going on. Eh? Seriously. Uh-oh, he said he's not seeing it. Uh-oh, why? Let me see. Maybe he needs to update his Facebook. If I don't need makeup, Abdullahi Shita, welcome to the program. He said, great mentor. Thank you, darling. Doctor said, doing great. And you, love you, doctor. Dr. Fabio, I'm doing well. Alhamdulillah. It's Friday. So he's trying to connect here because we were planning on YouTube because he was more comfortable on YouTube. So we'll still go and do it on Facebook, huh? We get a lot of options. This one is for you. Oh yeah, she a younger. I be a younger. My love there. Oh yeah, she be a younger. Be a younger. Say, my love them. Oh yeah, she be a younger. Yes, he's asking me if he should update his Facebook, so he's just doing the update. also here with us. Olatunji, Paramade, Rachel, welcome. Yeah. If you guys click on like, click on share or love, I know you're here. I'll give you the shout out, but if not, I wouldn't know you're here. Cynthia, welcome to the program. Yeah. Good morning. No more gay baby, me, how you do? Yeah. I did do well. They say I fine, girl. Mashe, me, tell me how you do. Yeah. Mommy, I'm okay. This one is for you. Yeah. Oh, yeah, baby, I am there. Yeah. They say like I do like young speaking. That's what the music said. Yeah. Yeah. Huh? Trouble, no, they finish. Making they try to they enjoy. Wahala, no, they finish. Okay? Just be strong. All right? You just have to keep trying and keep staying strong. Okay? I posted a video about a guy that committed suicide. I believe I posted that this morning or last night. I think it was this morning. Please, no matter what, don't do that to yourself. I'm begging you. I'm begging. You want me to kneel? Don't kill yourself. I'm begging you. If you know you have a lot of toxic people around you, move away from them. I'm begging. Don't Allah, don't Nebi. Now the Chineke, they take beg you. Please. There is still something that you're here for. Think about your children if you have children. Even if you don't have children, there are other people that would love you. I'm begging you. Don't just kill yourself. If you guys have not watched it, go watch the video. I don't like posting things like that, but we have to post sometimes to educate ourselves. It was a guy who felt people thought, he said, everybody looks at him like he was not maybe trustworthy and all that. So he took his life and left messages about how his wife can get his pension and things like that. Please don't get into that. I'm begging you. And for people who do not listen to men, men too go through a lot. And I think that is why he found it more difficult. I'm begging you, listen to them also. It's not only women that are going through mental health. Yes, I get it. A lot of women go through that. However, we have men that are going through that are dying in silence. So we have to care about both gender. Remember, at Sharing Life Issues with Her Excellency Haji Ami, we're not picking what gender we're covering. We're here for everyone. So I'm begging you, do not kill yourself. If you start thinking that something is going wrong, please seek for help. I'm begging you, seek for help. I'm just trying to check to see what's going on with him. So seek for help. I'm begging. Do not think killing yourself will be the best option. I get it. Sometimes you tell people things and they look down on you. Don't think because somebody is looking down on you, you have to just, take your life. No, we cannot do that. We cannot continue to give people power over you. Okay? So sometimes we make people have so much power by what we feel like people are thinking about us. That's why we care so much. And at the end of the day, I was speaking to a friend today, and she told me something. She's not from Nigeria. She's an African too. She's from West Africa too. But we're both in this America. I've known her for years. She's just like a sister to me. My friends, I don't keep crazy people around me. Once I see that you have coin, I just let you go. I don't like wahala me. So we've been friends for, I think, since 2003 or two, I can't even remember. It's like a long time. We've been through, everything together. And she told me, she's like, okay, George is communicating with me, still seeing you, but trying to come live in the video. I cannot see you anymore. Can you type something in or? Okay. Type something in. I sent you, if you can hear me, George, I already put you as, let me put it again and see. I can't even see you. I don't see you there. Since you can hear me, maybe there's no need to type it. But if you can hear me, I cannot see you here. So I already sent you a link to join. So kindly click on that link. If you cannot see the link, kindly click to ask to be brought in as a speaker. So that way we can get there. Okay? So like I was saying, she looked at me and then she said, Amina, how the F do I care about what people think about me? Nobody's paying my bills. I don't even know what we're talking about, but she was just like, you know. So I told her, I said, where I come from, Nigeria, you have to have, okay, we talked about something about elderly. And then she said, elders too need to respect themselves. Victoria, you're welcome to the program. She said, well said, my beautiful sister. Thank you, darling. So she said, nobody's paying my bills. So why the F do I care about what they think? She said, I respect you, you respect yourself. You know? But we have this culture where this is part of where this domestic violence is happening. Because we've been enabling things right from birth. Like I posted something from the Queen, Ogunwusi, the Queen of Ife. She said, Nigeria itself is abused. So it's like we normalize things. People will be abusing you, but you are being told to normalize it because religious people are there telling you it's okay. So experiencing some network challenges, hooking up. So my baddest economist and humanitarian person, George, said he's having some technical difficulties coming in, but I see him here. So let's just keep trying while I keep talking and then see what goes on. Okay, inshallah, everything will be fine soon. I just tried to bring you on again, but I'm not seeing anything. Can you click on bring you so that way I can approve it, George? Because I'm not able to, like I see other people, I can click on them, but you, I'm not able to. But probably you said you're having technical issues too, so I get it. So keep trying and let's see what happens, okay? He was here on time before even time, you know? I love that. So we were already ready for you guys. We were ready with the YouTube. We went on YouTube before we came down here. So, like we were saying, we normalize abuse in Africa, especially. I see, what was I gonna say? That is why people get into relationships. Normalizing, oh, Lydia Zamani, welcome to the program. That's why people get into relationships and they're normalizing abuse, because all our lives we've been told to be quiet and to tolerate our abusers. Because believe it or not, we all have been abused in one way or the other from when we were kids, you know? I just like the music first. Let me dance a little bit first. Let's see if George will be able to get in. Yeah? Yep. Yeah. You can tell by now that I like good music. Yeah. Good morning. Bashini, bashini. Yeah. All right. Okay. George is still trying to join. So be patient. I think he just sent me a message. Can you send the link again? He said that can make me go live on the video. Let me see. Sorry, we're still trying to see what's going on here. Let me see. I already sent him the link. However, he had to update his Facebook, but then still, but he's having issues getting in. I don't know why. Just if you can hear me, can you log out or get out of Facebook and come back in, please? Maybe that's what we need to do. Get out of Facebook and then come back in. Okay, since you just updated it, it could be the reason why. I know you're typing, but can you hear me? Sorry. I feel you're on. I think you said you're on, and I think I can still. I'm not sure if you're still here, but if you're on, log out of, or maybe get out of Facebook, sorry, and then come back in. We're going to get there, people. Thanks for your patience. So like I was saying before, I was just trying to make sure that I see what's going on with to respond to George. But like I was saying, we go through a lot of abuse, especially in the third world country. I would say Africa, because I know I have a lot of views or viewers from all over the world. It's not just Nigerians here. I know I'm American Nigeria. However, we go through so much abuse that makes people not even know when they're being abused. That's why sometimes victims in domestic violence don't even classify that as abuse. So, what I want to say before my baddest economist comes to educate us is, no matter what, please don't kill yourself. I'm begging you, walk away. If you're a guy, if you're a woman, walk away from that instance. Do it respectfully. If there's domestic violence, then run for your life. But do not go ghosting people. However, if it has to do with domestic violence, find your next exit, your nearest exit, and leave. Be it a man or a woman. Because men too are going through this. It's not just women. But we have a lot of women going through domestic violence. So let me see if I can see George again. George, if you can hear me, can you send in a request to join? Just click on add. Click on add guest, because I cannot see you anymore. Yeah. Let me see. I'm just trying to send him a message because he's sending me a message. I'm just trying to tell him what to do. He said, I'm right here with you. So can you click on bring you? Because it's not giving me the option to bring you anymore. Because sometimes it does that. So you would have to click on that bring me. Just like every other time we're here, sometimes people click on bring me. So click on that bring me on, so that way I can approve it. Because it's not letting me to add you anymore. So let me see. I'll keep trying, but you can also click add to or request to join. I see other people, but it's not even letting me click on anyone right now. Let's see. Yeah, I see that I can add some people, but I'm not seeing you there anymore. It's not giving me that option. Maybe because I've been clicking on it. Okay, I'm not seeing the bring on button. Wow. That's weird. Maybe because you just updated the Facebook. I'm not sure. Maybe that's why. But did you log out of Facebook and log back in like I was advising you to? Maybe that could be why. I'm not sure. Sorry. So can you do that and see if that would help? So sorry, everybody. Things happen, right? We did not plan for Facebook. We planned for YouTube because it was more convenient for my Baddest Economist. But however, we had to switch here because of network stuff. So he had to update his Facebook. Eh? Tiengbo. Gori gori. Tani mbaki. Eh? Married. Eh? In everything we do, always pray and always thank God. Without God, we're nothing. I don't care if you're a Christian or a Muslim or whatever religion you are, always pray. Yes? Some did not wake up today, so always give glory to God. Josh, let me see if I can still bring you on. I'm not seeing anything that is having me add you. I think the best thing to do, let me see. I refreshed it. Welcome, Abdullah Ishita. I refreshed it, George, but I can't even see to bring you on. I don't know why. So it could be because you just updated the Facebook. Can you request again to join? I know you said you are not seeing the link, but try to look again. Or, like I said before, like log out of Facebook and log back in. Since you just updated it, it might be that. I'm not sure. No. Yeah. Judge, what's how far? Yeah. It's not letting me even see you to add you, so I'm not sure if you're still there. Let me call him maybe, because I see that he's having technical difficulties. He said, I'm here. There, I'm right there with you, but I'm not seeing him because I already sent the bring guest. However, it's not letting me even see him now to bring. And I don't want to have to log out of the live. So let me call him and see. I don't know if you can hear me, George, but I'm going to try to call you. Okay, you said I have logged out and come in. Hello? Oh, okay. Wow. Oh, God. You can see me, you can hear me. I know. I don't know what's going on. Wow. So he can view me, he can hear me, but okay.
But I can't. If people can't hear me, you can't see me appear on the video.
Right.
Next we're going to use Zoom. That'll be another option.
To use Zoom? Some of them might not have Zoom.
Zoom. Okay.
Yeah. So maybe what we can do is keep trying to click on it. And if it's not going through, I can leave my phone on while you talk so they can hear from the phone. Like, you know, if we're not able to, because I'm not sure if they have the Zoom.
Okay.
Just like some people didn't have.
Like WhatsApp?
Exactly.
Okay.
Because that was the last I mean, I'm just trying to figure out options so that we don't have to keep trying. You can keep trying. However, we can move forward by you talking, and I can just leave the phone on and speaker so they can hear you educating them on why we're here today. If it's not, if the network keeps going on.
You should just use this method because of time.
Because of time, exactly. Because you've tried, we've tried, so it's not our fault.
Thank you. Yes, you usher me. Yes. So maybe we just call, then I'll call you back, then introduce me in, then we can start. I can be talking through here. And if they can hear, that'll be fine. Even they can see me.
Yeah, but you can keep trying too, to see if it will work. So we can switch at any given time, That's fine by me.
Let me try it.
So you want me to hang up now?
Try again.
Okay, sure.
Okay, let me try. Let me try again.
Okay, are you trying with your phone?
Yeah, with my phone.
Okay, that's good. Because sometimes when they use the computer, it gives problems. That's what I was asking.
Yeah, with my phone.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right. So
okay.
Again. All right. Let me get out of the phone call then. Sure. So guys, we're trying to, find ways to do things. If this one does not work, I want to move on so that way we can give you the required education that you need, and we can take it from there. So he's still going to try to join. However, if he's not able to, then we will do it by the phone, okay? I'll put it on, and he would educate us on what you need to hear. Yeah? So that way we don't delay, right? Chengbo, one shake go baje, kokojo, eh? Sadakata, you correct. Yeah? Won't be my power, it's Allah. Yeah? All right, so I'm still trying to see. Let me see if we can still bring him on through Facebook. He said he's going to try again. And if not, I would call him, or he would call me, and then we would use the phone way to do it. Okay? All right? Things happen. But the good thing is I always have you guys, my patient people. So I love that. Yeah? So he's trying his best too. Because when we went on YouTube, he wanted YouTube. That was why I moved the program yesterday to YouTube. Because I always like to do things with the comfort of, my people. I don't like to push people into what they don't feel comfortable into. So he was more comfortable with the YouTube. That was why I moved everything to YouTube. And I found out that a lot of people too were saying they preferred YouTube. He's calling me. Hello? Okay, wait. It couldn't work out. Okay, so we could try from here, and then we take it from there, right? All right. Okay, let me just put it in the speaker. Welcome to Sharing Life Issues with Her Excellency Hajia Ami. And here we do have my Baddest, Economist, and Humanitarian, George Emmanuel, who would be educating us today about domestic violence. So over to you, George.
Thank you for your patience. Thank you for understanding. We have been having some network issues, and painstakingly trying to make sure that you get the benefits and you get value from tonight's special program on domestic violence. And I believe that you're going to gain a lot of value from this, because this is a topic that affects every one of us. We are affected one way or the other. My topic is going to be domestic violence, understanding the early warning signals. There are always early warning signals. And most times we don't recognize the signals, or sometimes we just ignore the signal. But we're talking about domestic violence. What actually is domestic violence? We need to have a clear understanding of what domestic violence is. Domestic violence, according to the United Nations, they define it as a behavior, a pattern of behavior in any relationship. Can be physical, can be emotional, it can be economic, it can be psychological, and it influences another person.
Sorry, I had to get up. I was getting, I think it was the hackers again. But go ahead, we're good.
Okay. So I hope you're all following.
Yeah, they're following. I see them liking it and loving it, so they can hear you. If you guys can hear, can you give the likes, the love? He wants to know that you guys are there, and he wants to know if you guys can hear him. Yes, they can hear you.
Yeah. Okay, so we're talking about what actually is domestic violence. I said earlier that it is an abuse. It can be physical, it can be emotional, it can be economic, it can be psychological, and it affects people from whether different genders, a male or a female, or different race, different age. Why are we talking about domestic violence tonight? Because I would like to begin by sharing a story with you all.
Sure.
A friend of mine in Kenya called me some couple of months back that a young girl was killed by a boyfriend. She was strangled to death by her boyfriend. He killed her and then beat her to the point of death and strangled her. And when he called me, he said we should do something for Kenya due to domestic violence. But that's Kenya. In my country here in Nigeria, I have witnessed and I have seen a lot of cases of abuse, domestic violence. In the city where I live, a woman poured hot water on her husband and all his skin was peeled off. He was rushed to the hospital. Just recently, another woman stabbed her husband to death. So this is a problem. Why did I begin by sharing these stories? It is not like it's happening every single day. But you know, in Africa, there's a lot of misconceptions, and so many Africans don't like to, they are not expressive to share their problems and their pains. Everybody just wants to settle that this is a problem that we need to close. I'll just give an illustration. If you have a boil on your leg, you don't just pet the boil and say, oh, just leave it, it's just a boil. It's going to get worse. And if you don't treat it, it's going to get worse. If you look at the word disease, the first three letters is D-I-S, disease, and ease. It makes that before the ease, there's a disease, and it changes everything. And how do you address a sickness? You treat it. Domestic violence starts with a warning signal. Let me share with us some statistics. About 1 in 4 women and nearly 1 in 10 men have experienced contact sexual violence, physical violence, and even stalking by an intimate partner. Where is the statistic from? The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in the United States. Through their research on intimate partner and sexual violence survey, they discovered 1 in 4 women, this is in the United States, and nearly 1 in 10 men have experienced sexual violence. People don't talk about it, but they are silently dying. They're silently feeling the heat. Over 43 million women and 38 million men have experienced psychological aggression by an intimate partner in their lifetime. This is all statistics from the Center for Disease Control and Prevention in the United States. Now, why are we talking about it? Because it affects me, it affects you. One way or the other, we have either been victims or we are perpetrators ourselves, either knowingly or unknowingly. So, when we're talking about domestic violence, what are the signals? What are the signs? Insults. Sometimes a partner is telling you, let me give you an example. I like giving a lot of practical examples because I like practical examples to make the teaching more clear for everybody.
Absolutely.
Because this is a practical thing. Recently, I went to a restaurant. I was buying food. I was eating. A young guy came in with his girlfriend, and they were just arguing. Before I know what was happening, he was raising up his hand to slap the girl. When I was sitting, I said, "Well," I later was saying, "I love you. I love you. Something is wrong." I was just sitting there, but I realized something is wrong. A guy is making because of a little argument. The first thing he wants to do is he wants to use his hands. That is a sign. You don't need a prophet or you don't need a doctor to tell you that there's a crack in the wall. And before a building falls or collapses with cracks in the wall, and from a little crack ignored, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and the building collapses.
Absolutely.
I hope we're all following.
Absolutely, I agree.
I'm trying to call in. I'm not seeing the view of people to see if they're following up.
Absolutely.
I hope we're all following.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so where I was seated, I know that that's the early.
Yes, they're giving you all the likes and the love, so I see that they can hear you, so that's good. But you also can keep trying to see if you can, get in as you're talking. But we can move on. Don't let me distract you. Yeah.
If I click on the video, if that's gonna be fine. You can
click on the video. Yeah, that should be fine. Yeah, I believe it should be fine.
If I click on my WhatsApp video, can you connect it to the audience?
Oh, if you click on the video, sure, we can do video. That's fine. Well, actually, let me click on it. I just did. Let me see. Okay, awesome. See, we're doing good. So, you see, I have all my baddest people that know how to, if one way does not work, the other way would always work. I have too many geniuses here. So let's keep going.
Okay, like as I was saying, and when there's a crack in the wall, you look at it, you don't ignore it, because if you ignore it, the building is going to collapse. And you see that in a relationship. And when a guy at the slightest thing wants to hit you, or if anyone wants to hit you, you realize that that's a warning sign. But before we talk deeply, or before we look at the early warning signs, we need to ask ourselves, why do people act aggressively? Why do people act aggressively at the slightest thing? It comes to temperament. I know most of us have read a book by Tim Lai, Why You Act the Way You Do. When you look at the temperament, we have the choleric, we have the melancholy, we have the phlegmatic, and all that. But the problem is not the temperament. The problem is how you act when you are angry. Your temperament, you could have your weakness. We all have a strength and weakness. How you act with their hands, women act with their mouth. Nevertheless, a man does not have the right to physically abuse a woman, and a woman does not have the right to verbally abuse her husband. There's a two sides to the coin, and we cannot isolate abuse from upbringing. We cannot isolate abuse from upbringing. I have seen a situation where a man, this happened in my community. I hope you all can hear me.
Yes, we can.
The man always beat his wife every day, almost on a daily basis. They're always quarreling. And the neighbors will come out and we try to separate them. But you know what? Just a few hours later, the woman will go back and, they all start their love back again. And people were like, this man was almost killing this woman. And I don't know what the man tells her. He comes with some nice words to try to console her after beating her pop and blue. And she will go back again. And the children are watching. While the man is beating this woman, beating her. Sometimes he's going to tear her clothes and throw her out. The children are watching. Why am I saying? It influences the child. An abuser have a history or an encounter with abuse. If you see a man that's an abuser, check his history. He must have been influenced, or he must have lived in an environment where abuse has been seen as a normal thing. You are not man enough. You can't beat your wife. I recently, I was on the road, and there was a misunderstanding between two neighbors. They're selling shop just on my street. And one of the women was abusing the woman. She was like, your husband beats you every day. Do you know what the woman said? I like it the way my husband beats me. He loves me. That's why he beats me every day. Oh, God. And while I was standing, I nodded my head and I said, this woman is playing with fire. She's playing with her life. Like, your husband loves you and he beats you, and you're so proud about it, and you're bragging about it, and you're telling people that, look, my husband beats me because the man was going to beat another man's wife. And then I realized that truly this man must be beating his wife. And the wife was defending him in public. Like, my husband beats me because he loves me. So, sometimes we cannot isolate abuse from upbringing. That's why for single people that are not yet married, and when you want to go into a relationship, you need to know the history of this person. Did he grow up in an abusive home? He must say, I have changed, but have you seen signs of change in him? Like, the children growing up in an abusive home, it affects their mentality. Their psychology is affected because the seed is planted in them. They have normalized abuse. It has become like a medication. They have swallowed a drug. So it has become like a normal thing. So one point I want you to note is upbringing influences abuse. The children are watching. When there's a misunderstanding and dad slaps mom, the children are watching. And when they go out, they want to, if someone insult them, they feel like, but I saw dad slap mom, they want to raise their hands. But in a situation where the dad tried to control his temperament, the mom tried to control, there will be misunderstanding. There's no how there will not be misunderstanding. There will always be misunderstanding. There will always be times when both people want to have some issues. Like my parents, they've been married for over 40 years. And yes, they do have misunderstanding, but they always go upstairs to their bedroom. They don't want us to even know that.
Misunderstanding is normal. It's normal to have misunderstanding. That's perfectly fine.
Yes, and sometimes they're just frowning their face. I will understand that there's a misunderstanding between mom and dad. But once they go upstairs, when they're coming down, you see them smiling and hugging each other again. Now they're creating an impression for the children to see that, look, there will always be times of misunderstanding, but how you handle it matters. How you control your hands matters. You don't raise your hand because you're so mad and upset. It doesn't matter how upset you are. You don't throw a fist or pick up a knife or pick up a bottle. Because when you are angry, you do stupid things. You say things that you can't bring back those words again. And there are some words that some people will never forget. They'll always remember those words you told them. Absolutely. It might take 10 years, it might take 20 years. They'll always flash back to those hurtful words you say. And I've seen people that are angry. I used to have a friend, when he gets angry, his body's shaking. I like to teach more with practical because I don't want to go. I wrote an article for this program right here in my system, but I want to make it more practical.
It's better that way because we were brought up more visually, so that's better that way to be more practical. I agree with you.
Yeah. So if this my friend is angry, his body's shaking. So one day I asked him, why do your body always shake when you're angry? He said he doesn't just know. But anytime he's angry, he just realized that his hands are shaking, his legs are shaking. He might pick up a knife to stab someone, or he might pick up a bottle to stab. If he doesn't do that, he's not just of himself.
It's a post-traumatic disorder. It's PTSD. That's what it's called.
Yes, and that's it. So what do you do when you realize you hurt someone? He said, I feel bad when I've hurt someone, but I've seen the blood pop out, then I feel bad. I said, you've killed someone, you will go to jail, and you feel bad when you're locked up in a cell somewhere. So you have to work on it, and gradually, I tell him, if you're feeling angry that time, just walk out. Just leave the scene. Because if you stay in that environment, it might provoke you, you might get more reactive. So you just walk out of that scene because it's going to scare you. It's going to escalate the situation. So to de-escalate the situation, one of the methods you use when you are angry, if it is an environment, you just walk out. I was listening to the story of a man. He killed someone, his wife, and he was in prison. He was sentenced to life imprisonment, and they were asking him, they said, what would you have done? He said, in just that 1 minute, I would have just walked away, and I would have just saved the situation. And they said, if you can change time, what would you have done? He said, I would have just walked away. I would have killed my wife. So one of the signs is that when you're angry, one of the ways to address it, when you're angry, look at yourself, walk away. If it is possible, just walk out of that scene, and then you could save your life. So let me just go through some of the signs of that shows, domestic violence, some of the signs that we sometimes take for granted. Isolation. An abuser will always want to isolate you from your family and your friends because they don't want you to get help. They just see you like a slave, a modern slave. And they want you to be in the walls of their cage. They don't want your freedom. They don't want your liberty. They don't want your happiness. If you discover that you're in a relationship, either with a man or a woman, and they're always isolating you from people, yes, look, when someone loves someone, they try to protect their interest. But if it's becoming too much, you can't talk to a friend, you can't do anything, that's a sign. That's a sign. You're about to walk into a train. You're about to board a train called abuse.
True.
And you don't know it. You're just about to board a flight called abuse. And the guy is always not wanting you to talk to people. And you ask him, sorry, or the girl, why can't I talk to my family? I want to talk to my dad. No. Don't talk to your dad. Oh, can I go see my mom? No.
No, come on.
That is a sign that you don't know what's going on with him or her, but you're about to board a plane called abuse, and you better open your eyes clearly before you become a victim. Victims in the grave don't tell their stories.
Because he does not want other people that would tell her that you're into a wrong relationship to say, you need to run, you need to jack back. So that's why they isolate you.
Exactly. And then another sign you see is that at the slightest thing, there's this explosive temper. Maybe you're just caught in, I like saying in a relationship, because if you're married, you have ways you can, treat the sickness. But if you're not yet married, you have the proactive measures to take. But if you're married, you're already in the abusive relationship. Well, there are some ways you can still try to address it. But if you're not married, it's fine. If you're courting, if you're in a relationship, it's better because you can quit it before you become rest in peace.
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah, you can quit it. Your life is a treasure. You are supposed to be in love. You're not supposed to be in pain. You're supposed to be in happiness. You're not supposed to be in fear. You're supposed to live in peace. You're not supposed to come back home and you're scared if you're going to receive a punch or a beating or a slap or be strangled. You're not having a home in your home. You're having a war zone in your house. So that's not a relationship you want to be in if you're not married yet. But if you're married, you have you have some things you can still do. But if it's getting worse, I'll get to that point. I don't just want to I'll get to that point later on. But I'm just talking about if you're in a relationship, you're still single, these are signs you need to watch out for. So another sign you need to watch out for is if a person is always monitoring your social media activities, your interactions, your location. There are some people, they're always stalking you. You don't even know. They don't want you to, they don't want you to have a space of your own. Now someone say, oh, he might be cheating, she might be cheating. Well, if the person truly loves you, they won't be cheating on you. And if you truly love the person, you won't be cheating on the person. But then if the person is constantly becomes so excessive, that's a sign there's something wrong. There's something wrong. So you need to be conscious of that. So I'm going to talk about the 4 stages of abuse in a relationship. There are 4 stages of abuse in a relationship. The first stage of abuse is the tension building stage. Tension building stage. When there's always tension. Now, please don't get me wrong. There'll always be misunderstanding. There'll always be roadblocks. I'm not saying you're going to be in a smooth relationship. I'm not saying you're going to be in a smooth marriage. I'm not saying there are not going to be hard times. I'm not saying there are not going to be times when the bills are not paid. I'm not saying there are not going to be times when there's no food on the table. I'm not saying there are not going to be times when you're thinking about how to pay the children's school fees. I'm not saying there are not going to be times when, there's no child yet. You've been expecting child. Now, this is one area where abuse builds up to. I'm talking about the 4 stages of abusive relationship. The first stage is the tension stage. Now, the tension stage in your relationship can be when there's no child. You might get married to a man and you are all loving each other. You are all for each other. And after 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, there's no child, the man suddenly changes. It happens. The man suddenly changes. It happens because there's no child in that relationship. And family, especially here in Africa, in Nigeria, if there's no child, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, the family of the man, or especially the family of the man, they will say, are you sure she's not a witch? Are you sure she's not barren? You can't just stay like that. They'll start putting fire in the relationship, and before you know what is happening, the man will change, his character will change. He comes back from work, you give him food, he doesn't want to eat because he has probably eaten outside. And you begin to observe, this is not the man you married. Maybe you're not asked because you don't have a child yet. 3 years, 4 years. Tensions will start rising in that relationship. And before you know what is happening, you start becoming abusive. When you observe that things are really getting bad, people are feeding wrong things into his head. And don't wait until he starts beating you before you start waking up. Once you observe that your husband is avoiding your food, men likes food a lot. I like food, good food. My dad, I see him, he likes good food. And he likes to eat mom's food anytime he comes back home. No matter what food you give him outside, mom's food is always very special. But once the master coming back home is avoiding your food, and you just like, it's okay, maybe he's just tired. No, there's something going on wrong. You need to call him. Go to the room and call him. Speak to him. Someone is feeding his mind. They're planting some microchips of poison in his brain somewhere. So you go to his room. Be fast. Don't wait until the relationship gets into the tension rise. Ask him, honey, what's going on? Talk to him. You make him to understand, get your husband back before he gets late. I've seen couples that have been married for 15 years, they later have children. It works, it happens. I've seen some, they say, okay, we can't have child, we go through some medical process, they get children. One of the biggest causes of tensions in relationship that leads to abuse is lack of church. I would say when there's no children coming in the relationship. I know in the Western societies, they're not really crazy about there's a child, they want happiness and all that. In African countries, if there's no child in 2 years, either they're bringing another girl for him in the house.
Even 9 months. What are you saying, 2 years? 9 months.
They're not going to waste time. So you as a woman, you don't need to wait until things get bad. So that's one of it. Secondly, another stage of abuse in a relationship is the abuse stage. Now, it has grown. It's like a boil or a pimple. It starts growing very small. And you just say, it's just an innocent pimple, just let it be. You usually attend to the pimple, it's just growing. Say, it's just an innocent pimple, just let it be. It's going to get bigger and bigger. That's how abuse is. From one slap, he comes and hugs you and say, darling, I love you. He's going to read you all the sweetest Romeo and Juliet poems. He's going to tell you all the love stories. He's going to take you out for dinner and lunch to pay back for his abusive slap. I'm telling you, it's not just going to change. He will become more emboldened. The lady abuses the guy, and the guy just say, oh, she's just going to change. She's going to get more emboldened. Recently, I was in a restaurant eating, and a young guy came in with his girlfriend. So I was seated here, and they were seated there. And I saw that the girl has a black eye. And she was kind of frightened. And while she was sitting, I observed that she was like crying. When the guy went to buy an ice cream and he was trying to pet her, right where I was seated, I know that that girl is in an abusive relationship because that's one of the physical signs of abuse, which I'm going to talk about. See, that's a physical sign of abuse. The girl is seriously abused. What are some of the physical signs you see? A black eye, a busted lip, marks, sprained wrist, bruises. Those are physical signs that that girl is in abuse. She needs help. What are the emotional signs you see that abuse is going on? Low self-esteem, overly apologetic, fearful. There's changes in sleeping patterns. There's changing in eating patterns. Now, it might not be you that's abused, but your neighbor might need help. They would come to tell you that they're abused because they're afraid of their life. You might say that, why don't they just go walk away? Then it's not easy for an abused person to just walk away because they could be killed. They're living with a monster. It can be a man, it can be a woman, it can be a father, it can be a mother. Recently in our country here in Nigeria, a woman is a house help, a housemaid. She took this whips and whipped the boy about 13 years. Blisters all over the boy's skin. Torn, the boy's skin was torn apart. Or deep wounds with blood gushing out. The police got notice of it and they were able to rescue that 13-year-old boy. That's it. What if he was not rescued and been killed? So abuse can be from father to son, mother to even children. There are some parents that when they're angry, they just pick up iron, they hit the child. The person is gone. So if you see signs, how can you help an abused person? If you see a neighbor with a black eye, if you see a neighbor with all that, they might not come to you, but at some point, maybe if you go into the person, just ask, I'm sorry, is there something really going on wrong? They might not tell you, but if they can trust you, they will want to talk to you. Because abused people live in fear. Fear. They can't just walk out of that relationship. They can't just walk out of that marriage. It's not as easy as it is. Sometimes if you're not wearing the shoe, you don't know how it pains you. Pinches the person. If you're not wearing the clothes, you don't know whether it can size you. You don't know what is inside the clothes. Someone might be wearing a clothes filled with ants. He's smiling, but he's dying. So what can you do to help an abused person? It can be a brother, it can be a sister. Look, abusive people are everywhere. Abusive people are everywhere. You see them in your workplace, you see them, they're everywhere. And we too can be abusive of others. We too can be perpetrators of abuse. You just have to, if you have love for yourself, if you respect yourself, sometimes someone will provoke you to be abusive. You realize that, you know what, no matter what this person is doing, I think I should just take the highway. I should just take the high road. So that's it. So I don't know. I just want to pause. I don't want to be like doing a university.
No, you're doing perfectly fine. You're giving it to them the way I want it. That's absolutely what is happening, because abusers, like we know, would always manipulate you, and isolation is the key word, so that you don't get help. And I loved it the way you said, why didn't you leave? A lot of people would always say that. And some people would say, oh, it's because you don't have a job, that's why they're abusing you. No. Abusive people can be abusive to anyone. They can even be abusive to a judge who has the power to, put you in jail. So a lot of times people would say, why didn't you leave? You had, this kind of job. What stopped you from, leaving? I've had colleagues that would say, I even have, powers to do this, but I couldn't do this because of this, because I was scared. And then people are like, you were scared, but you're an authority to do things for other people. I get it. Sometimes people who help people are not able to help themselves because they've seen so many things about how people die that they have to be careful. But you're doing perfectly well. keep riding on.
Yeah, so when we see all these things, we need to help someone. There might be, this program might save the life of someone out there. There might be someone out there that is in need of help. There might be someone out there that's even going through pains right now.
Yes.
When I was working many years back as a teacher in a school, I had this boss. I would say he's really abusive boss. Now, it's not physical abuse, but he can verbally abuse you. And he's so temperamental that he can disgrace you, embarrass you, talk down on you, bully you. And one day I was teaching in a class. There was this teacher, she teaches in the next class, and she was writing on the board and she made a mistake. And this boss just came in and started shouting, "You're just dumb. You don't even know what you're writing." And the kids were watching. The woman felt so bad. That's physical abuse.
Mm-hmm.
And she walked up to me and she said, "I'm quitting the job." And I told her that you can quit the job, you have the right to. But this man does not own you. Abusive people want to own you. They feel they own your life.
Absolutely.
They feel you can't live without them.
Yeah.
You can't live without them. You can't think for yourself. They tell you what to think. They tell you where to go. They tell you what to put on.
True.
Everything is about what they want. And they've never asked you, what do you want?
It's always me. True.
Yes. Okay, the woman wants this, the man wants this. But relationship is too, so sometimes you ask each other, please, what do you want? But an abusive person, he wants everything about you. He feels like he owns your life. He feels like he or she feels like they own even the breath you breathe.
Yeah. Perfectly said.
What can we do to help victims of abuse? We've talked so much about abuse tonight. We've talked so much about abuse and abusive relationship. We've talked about how they try to isolate us. We talked about how the early warning physical signs you can see. So let's talk about what we can do to help.
Exactly. That was what I was gonna say. And also, let's talk about people who enable them. That's why we're having these issues going on. And because as Africans, we were told not to speak up. I'm glad we're doing this now. Years back, who am I? Who are you to come and talk about things like this? Up till now, people look at us as the bad ones talking about things like this because people want to make sure that your voice is not being heard. So abusers need to start being able to say, I have to tell my story and I don't care what people say. Because of what people would say, we are not saving other people's lives because people are keeping quiet and the perpetrator is moving on to another relationship and another relationship, and they keep doing it over and over to a lot of victims because of our cultural ways of enabling things, because we have pastors, we have imams, we have people that are top people that are supposed to say, you need to cut this out. Even parents. You'll be surprised that women sometimes will go back home and they will tell them, you're not supposed to be here. Yorubas will say, oh, or something like that. Like, you cannot come back home. So it's so wrong that sometimes we find out that we are the society that is supposed to help the victims are pushing them back into the abuse. It's just like our court systems. It's crazy, even here, everywhere. It's like you find out that you have that abusive partner who was abusive, but he would continue, like you said, the patterns with the kids, which is child abuse. So we need to talk about all of that too.
Yes. Abusers cannot work well if they don't have collaborators. And those who validate their abuse, and those who give their abuse some kind of societal justification, they need that fuel of justification to feel like I'm doing it right, to continue to further their abusive acts. And it is in the family, it is in the religious setting, it is in the workplace, it is in the community where people feel like in some of the cultural practices in many African countries is it aids abuse, I would say. A woman, for example, she lost her husband and her husband died and she's a widow. There are still some cultural practices in some African societies today that you have to shave the hair of the woman, make her to drink some terrible things. They will shave the hair of this woman, they will isolate her, keep her in the house. That's an abuse. So this cultural practice, when people begin to enlighten, I'm happy for this program, because when people begin to speak out, we begin to sensitize the minds of people. When we sensitize the minds of people, people will begin to get their voices because they've lost it. When they get their voices, they will begin to stand up for what is right. And that's how freedom starts. Freedom does not come by just keeping quiet.
Hell no.
Freedom comes by standing up. And if you don't stand up to speak, your oppressor will continue to feel like you are his puppet.
Absolutely.
He will continue to oppress you. But when you say, no, I've gotten enough, that's how decolonization started. The colonialists were impoverished in the colonies, and the colonies came up and said, we need our independence, we need our freedom. A lot of us are in emotional imprisonment. We are emotionally imprisoned.
Yeah. So
we need community leaders, especially religious leaders. When everyone begins to stand up and say, you know what, the abusers will know that the time is up for their abuse.
Absolutely.
Another form of abuse, what we can do to help is that as young people or youths more especially, we have social media platforms. Most people why some people find it difficult to come out to speak is because of societal stigmatization. They feel like society is going to mock them, especially in many African societies.
True.
When you come out and say, I've been abused by my wife, they're going to laugh at you. They'll say it's a weakling. How can your wife be abusing you? How can your wife beat you? How can your wife... That's what aids the abuse.
True.
But if we young people, one way you can help an abused person is by listening to them. Listening. There's a difference between hearing and listening. When you listen, you want to know the facts. When you're just hearing, it's just going through your ears, but you're not getting anything. And for an abusive...
Can I come in over there? And when they listen, they should listen with empathy, not just listening, like you said, going into one ear and getting out of the other ear. Before somebody would have the chest to open up about their abuse to you, they trust you. So the highest thing you would do is to mock them and not listen to them. Like he said, listening from one ear and out the other ear. Go on.
Yes. Another way you can help an abusive person, hold the trust. Hold it. If someone tells you they are going through sexual abuse or something, they are not expecting you to broadcast it to all the world everywhere.
Good.
They trusted you. Hold a secret, because the abuser don't want them to be free. So if the abuser knows that some other person knows about it, even you who knows about it, your life is in danger.
True.
You who knows about it, your life is also in danger. He can kill you and kill the person. And this is one of these abusers, they don't have conscience anymore. They have a serious mental crisis. They can kill themselves.
Or some of them, if they cannot kill you, then they put you into blackmail. They start blackmailing you to put you in fear. They start saying things that you did not do just to tarnish your image with fear.
True. So what we can do to help people, a lot of them that are going through abuse, if they tell us something, we should protect that. We should try to seek how we can have safe spots for them. If there's a way we can give a safe spot because they need a place to run to, we should be true to them.
True.
Because the last thing we can do to an abused person is to let their secret out.
Yeah.
So let us try to help out. If someone comes to confide in you, keep the secret. That's one thing. And as you said also, don't be judgmental. Don't like, he's beating you and you're still there. You're making the matters worse. Try to give them hope, because to them, they've lost hope. They're always in fear. and they cannot even have the time to interact with people because the abuser has cut them off. So any opportunity they have and they come to you, so don't wait for someone to come to you to tell you I'm abused. It's very hard to see.
Absolutely.
Someone cannot just walk up to you and tell you, see, you know what? I'm abused. Like in some cases, the fathers are abusing their daughters. It's not only happening in the Western countries. In my city, recently, a man was abusing his daughters, having sex with them, sexually abusing them, and the wife was aware of it.
Oh, God.
And when they were asking the woman, when it came out to public notice, they asked the woman, how can your husband be sleeping with your daughters and you keep quiet? She was like, he threatened her and she doesn't know what to do. I was like, your own daughters that you carried for 9 months and your husband is raping them, forcefully having sex with them, and you just kept quiet about it. So that's why we're talking about collaborators here.
You know, I'll come in on that too. Some women would say they want to keep their home also. Some idiots would say they want to keep their home. Yeah. So they would not say what their husband is doing to their kids because they want to keep a husband. Or a public dog, would I say. Yeah.
At that point, that's not a husband.
Exactly.
That's a monster.
Exactly.
And monsters are not just images you see on TV. Monsters are walking on legs.
Exactly.
They have hands, they eat, they sleep. And once the man starts abusing his daughters, he's now a monster. It's not your husband. You're not keeping a home. You're just living in hell.
Exactly.
Because your daughters are your own blood. So one way we can do is that it's difficult for someone to walk up to you and tell you they are being abused. But if you see something, you might not just go in like you're trying to be a busybody or want to book notes, but it might be your workplace. You see this worker always isolated, always frightened. One day you just walk up and say, is there anything I can do to help you? If they see that you're genuine, they might not tell you at first, but if they see that you're genuine, one day they will say something is wrong. But they have seen that you're caring, that you're showing true concern for them. So I believe that we can do a lot. And first of all, let's start with ourselves. Let us live a life of love. And if you can't give love if you don't have it.
Absolutely.
People say love, love, love. If you don't have it, you can't give it.
No way.
And if someone does not have love, no matter how the person sing love, write love, talk about love, the person can't give it to you because
Absolutely.
he doesn't have it or she doesn't have it. 10 years ago, I read a poem. It was just pasted on the front of the house. It said, everybody's talking about love, but are we willing to give love? Everybody's talking about hope, but are we willing to give hope? Everybody's talking about trust, but are we willing to give trust? Until we are willing to give hope and love, we can help ourselves and we can help others.
Absolutely.
So at this point, I would like to see if the viewers have questions they want to ask. Because I've said a lot, I would like to hear from them. So
absolutely. So you guys can send in your questions like my Baddest, Economist, and humanitarian person said. If you guys are still there, click on the love, click on like, so I know you're here. Send in your questions so that way I can read them out to him and we can go forward from there, okay? So we're waiting for your questions. I do see my baddest brother from Canada, Washiri. He said, you sure have made a lot of sense. Awesome. See all the love. You have to be around people that love you a lot of times too, to be able to know if you're being abused. So you guys send in your questions so that way we can cover that. And if there's anything that we did not cover today, we can address that also. Because you do have someone here who has a lot of knowledge about everything. So feel free to send in that question so that way we can answer it. Another thing I think I was going to say is the fear of what would people say if I leave. You know, a lot of women I know always say, and like you said, sometimes you could see that they're not doing well. No, sometimes somebody going through abuse could be looking so better than me and you would not know and you think she's fine. So it's not always like the people that are looking like they're scared. No, you can be a victim and look perfectly well. And people would never know. You see how people will come to Facebook today, tomorrow, and dance. Tomorrow you see them slapping. I've seen people that would send me messages, you know, hide my identity. And then the next minute I'm seeing them dancing with the husband. I'll say, see the person that was hiding identity. Now they are kissing. And that is what I hate about it. Hate is a strong word, but I have to use it. If somebody is abusing you, if somebody is like a perpetrator to you, I do not see a reason why you have to keep enabling it. Fine, there would be those honeymoon stages where you're in denial. But however, after a few years, it's time to start thinking, okay, what is my way out? I get it. Like we cannot always jump out of abuse. However, if somebody is abusing you and then you want to be showing the world that you guys are in love, you're doing yourself, not him. Because with him, you're actually helping him, you know, clean his records, that he's fine, that you're the one that have the problem. Because I've seen a lot of women would be dying in silence. They'll beat them up. The next minute they do makeup, they come on Facebook, they'll dance. The next minute they are posting picture of her and husband kissing. Is these people that post a lot about husband kissing and, you know, that you should look at and say, something is going wrong somewhere. Because it's like they're looking for that validation of, I'm okay, but they're not okay. So a lot of times they have to put something out to show people that they're doing fine. We need to stop living for people and start living for ourselves. At the end of the day, when you're done doing that, that's the end of it. I had a friend who, when she started sensing that this guy was like already hitting her, she could not leave. She could not leave. However, the first thing she did was took down all their pictures from Facebook. She was working out her exit plan, took out all the pictures, started, you know, looking for safety ways for her children, because believe it or not, the kids are affected. Once, like you explained, once, you know, you are in domestic violence situations, kids are being abused. And in Africa, they always think it is okay. It's not okay. Some people will say, oh, nothing is happening to the children, but psychologically, you're damaging them. You think that they're not going through that, like you said, with the other friend who saw what the parents were doing. When you're seeing that, it's not a good thing too. Because believe it or not, if the other partner is not okay to be able to maybe put those kids in therapy or find ways to actually educate those children to take out all those abusive things they've seen, then it will be tough for them to have partners too, and, you know, be better partners, because that's all they've seen daddy and mommy do. So we need to start caring about other people. Guys, I'm not seeing your questions, so you guys should send in your questions so that way we know if you have any questions. We're just talking since we've not heard anything from you guys. So with things like this, I think over here, we still have Africans that will bring that Nigerian madness in, that will bring that Kenyan madness in, South African madness in, to name but a few, even Jamaica, that will tell you, oh, culturally, you are not supposed to do that. You are the victim, but you are being blamed. Because the society would say, you know, I've seen people call the police and they're like blaming that victim that, oh, you want him to go to jail. Like you said, you want me to go to jail. So it's like the victim now becomes seen as the perpetrator, whereas the perpetrator is being supported by the society, and then you will be the bad one. So we as a society need to start thinking about how we are also damaging people. And that's why a lot of people just sit there and say, nobody's going to believe me anyway. Or if I speak out, I'm going to get more harm, which I've seen. Because if you do not have good support system, then it will be tougher for you as a victim coming out. I get it. However, we all need to start speaking, just like we did today. We're here educating people. Other peoples too need to start talking. And you need to start giving back to the society also. It's not just about me. It's not about just money. Everything is not about money. We keep quiet and we expect things to change. There's nothing that will change. Change begins with me and you. And if you guys are not ready to do it, nobody's going to do it for it. So, like he already explained, every one of us have been through that before. So we need to think about other people, because even if you are not going through abuse, maybe your sister, your siblings, your brother, your cousins, your friend, your neighbor, like he stated, or your co-worker, somebody is going through it every day as we speak. So let's not be that enabler. Let's try to believe the victims. And if you do know people are perpetrators, stop enabling them. And stop victim blaming, saying if you had not done this, he wouldn't have done that, or she wouldn't have done that. Because believe me, we have both, you know, guys that are abusers and females. So it's not just women only that are abused. However, we still see that it's a lot of women that go through that. So I'm not seeing any questions, but if there's any other things you need to bring in, you can. I'm just looking through my computer to see if any questions came in.
Okay, I just want to leave us with this word. If you see someone in pains, try to give the person hope.
Good.
Be there for someone. Someone needs you. You never can tell, but someone out there needs you. And you can save a life by just a smile and just asking someone, are you okay? You need some help? The person might say no, but the person really needs help. Like, as you said, there's some people that are smiling, but they're dying. I saw recently there's this they're in a relationship, but they're always on social media, always on Instagram, showing happy videos. And later on, what we heard about them is that the guy damaged her beyond recognition, physically abused her. And you know how social media is? They now started showing their videos when they were doing their honeymoon together.
Of course.
All that time, she was under serious abuse. So as you said, it's true. Some people are smiling, but they won't tell you. What I do myself sometimes, I do send some words of encouragement as audio messages to some of my contacts on my WhatsApp. But if I ask them, how are you doing? 90% statistically, because I did statistics a lot, 90% of respondents will say they are fine. If you ask someone now, how is everything? Even if they are dying, they're going to tell you they are fine. So, okay. What I do is that I send to some of my friends that I know will appreciate it, I send an audio of encouragement to them. And I do get feedback. And one of them sent me a message. He said, Mr. Emmanuel, when you sent me that audio, I was going through pain and depression. I told you I was fine, but I was not fine. But when I listened to that audio you sent to me, I got hope. I got confidence in myself. I could see a brighter future. I got a restoration. I got myself back. I wasn't myself. I was gone. I was going deep into depression. I told you I was fine, but I was not fine. There are many people like that. They will always tell you they are fine, but they're not fine. But you need elasticity. You need to stretch your hand of love and care. You don't need to, invade their space. You don't need to bump into them, but it could just be, you could come back the second time and ask, do you really need some help? How you speak to someone can make the person want to talk to you. If the person see your sincerity, the person want to speak out.
Absolutely.
Because people won't tell you that they are being abused. People won't tell you that they're in pains.
But do you know, sorry to come in on that. You know why they're not saying it? Because some have said it before. And like you said, the abusers, the person being abused is not telling you so you can help them broadcast it. But that's what we find in the society. Oh, did you hear what is happening to this one? Hey, her husband is beating her. Did you hear? She's emotionally damaged. Did you hear what even happened yesterday? So that is what we always do. Instead of supporting people, we gossip about it. That is why people sometimes do not seek help. They keep quiet. Another thing I think we did not really touch on is emotional abuse. We touched a lot about physical, but emotional abuse is more deadly, that people take it like it's nothing in Africa because, like you said, you covered a lot about that because that brings the isolation, where they isolate you and where they gaslight you. But I believe we need to talk a little bit more about the emotional abuse, because we really dealt with the physical.
Yeah, emotional abuse is a very terrible thing, honestly. Emotional abuse. A lot of Africans now, the suicide rate is increasing.
Because where you said when your husband is not eating, you should start thinking, and when he starts, moving into another place, that's part of emotional abuse. When people start gaslighting you and isolating you and moving into another room. So I'll let you talk.
Yes. Even in the aspect of sex, for those who are married, if one partner is depriving the other partner of sex, and some people use sex as a weapon, they use it as a weapon.
Yeah.
And emotionally, the man might be emotionally traumatized, because men like sex, food. These are things that they like a lot. And either sometimes from the woman, it's emotional abuse can also come to how clean you are. I have some men say their wife and she goes back. He goes back home and he meets all the house scattered. Maybe he had a stressful day at work, and the first thing you're telling him, darling, you've not paid for the bills. You are emotionally hurting him. Because of your use of word. But a good lady or someone who tries to see that the husband is back, you try to make him feel at home. You try to even, put food for him and make sure that you have care. Then later on, you can now start telling him, this is what can we do about it? Because finance is one of the causes of emotional abuse. Some people, when they don't have money, especially the men, if they're not having money, they're not happy at that time. And when they come home, they need a woman that will be there for them, not a woman that will add more to their problems. So it's in both parts, both the male and the female. Emotional abuse is in both parts. There are some children, too, especially in Africa, many people don't see it as important, but some are seeing it as important. Children, too, are emotionally abused a lot.
Yeah.
Just giving your child paying school fees and giving child food is not enough. Sometimes the children need you to play with them.
Absolutely.
They need you to hug them. They need you to take them, spend some time with them. They need you to tell them, son, I love you and I know you will make it. They need you to be interested in what they are doing. It's not just by doing the homework for your child. You stress your discussion like, son, how are you doing at school? What challenges are you having? Son, do you want us to go out for an outing? Do you want to see some new places? They want to have this interaction with their dad. They don't just want to see dad appear in the night and in the morning is off, and there's no time for them. Dad has time for work. Yes, dad needs to work because
they're having network issues, I guess, but he's reconnected.
Because they also want to see their dad. So parents, as parents, some of us listening, we are parents. Do we have time for our children? Do we have time that we discuss with them? Father to son chat, mother to daughter chat, father and children chat, parents and children chat. So sometimes you just take them to some cool place, spend some 20 minutes, just have some good time with them. Look them in their eyes and speak some good words to them. Try to encourage them. Some of them might be going through some rough times, but they can't confide in their dad because, dad will be quick to judge me. I can't tell my dad this, or mom will be quick to judge me. They want a mom that will be listening. No matter the problem, can you talk to your mom? Can you talk to your children? So emotional abuse is a serious problem.
Yes, it is. It does. It does. Because a lot of people would say, when people, like a lot of women will complain, I'm being abused, but my husband's family are saying I'm whining, but these are what he's doing. When you start isolating somebody, they want to talk about something and you don't want to talk about it, that's part of abuse. Because you're moving from one room to the other, saying you're not talking about it, that is abuse, because they're manipulating you and gaslighting you so that you do not resolve whatever you are saying that is happening. because they want to see you as the problem. So people would then start losing, like you said, their self-esteem. What am I doing wrong? Yeah. Did I, the person who loved your food would start saying your food is not tasting well, or you're not dressing well, in a way of gaslighting you to think really something is wrong with us. So we need to start speaking. We need to start, and like he said, when somebody starts isolating, I support that 100%. You need to start running for your safety. Like my Africans will say, Japa, you need to Japa, because that's a huge sign right there. So bring in your questions. I do see, let me see what people are writing. Let's see. Dr. Fabio said, good evening, everyone. And doing great. And Abdullah said, great mentor. Thank you. Well said, my beautiful sister. Okay. Let's see. Lovely program, said Honorable Rotimi Balogun. Lakan Sani, my Canadian brother, said, absolutely with you. And let's see. I'm not seeing any questions. Tapia said right there. Nicolene said, perfectly said, my beloved friend and brother. So Lakan said, you sure have made a lot of sense. So I guess we made a lot of sense. However, we're not seeing the questions. And this is part of the problem we have in Africa. Because of people don't want people to see me asking those questions. So people are not free. Sometimes I would have people write things inbox and I'll say, why don't you just write it out there so everybody can learn from it? But the fear of what would people say is still killing my people. So we need to start waking up not to care about what people will say. Because at the end of the day, like the Muslims will say, they will say, to God, it's God that brought you here, and to him will return. That's what that means. So at the end of the day, we need to care about our creator. I've been there, done there too. What would people say? But once you get yourself, you need to start telling other people too that, no, we cannot keep normalizing this. I know it's cultural, but we need to break that cultural nonsense that tells us that it's not okay to talk. It's not okay to say the right things. Yeah, when you're telling the truth, nobody wants to hear you. If we were talking about pornography now, a lot of people will sign up, they'll come. So once you start talking about DV, domestic violence, people look at you as the bad ones. We're the bad ones now because we're educating people to save other people. So if everybody's keeping quiet, we cannot get all these perpetrators out because they will continue doing what they have to do. So if you guys don't have any questions, we would like to wrap it up from here. I don't know if my colleague here has something to say. Other than that, I think he did a wonderful job in covering everything we needed to know.
Yeah, and I just want to end with this. I want to say, no matter what, don't lose hope. Even if you don't have anything to say, even if you don't want to say, just know that we care about you. That's why we have this program on, despite the network issues. Just know that we are all vulnerable, all of us, even myself. We
Absolutely.
Can be all vulnerable. We can be abused and we can abuse others.
Absolutely.
But what is our strength is that when we are going through a pain, we need to speak it out. Because a dead man, people will still talk about a dead person. If you're gone, they will still talk about you.
Exactly.
So if you're just living your life by what people will say, people will say. Whether you talk or you don't talk, people will say. So from the safer side, speak out. Raise your voice. It's better to raise your voice than to die in silence. Your help is there. And if you can't reach out to someone, you can write, you can email the person, you can hide your identity, but just say something because you don't know that someone might have an idea to share with you that could help you. But you have said something, it can bring some solution to you. No one will know that you have a ball in your leg until you go to the hospital to meet a doctor. So I wish you all the best and thank you so much. Mom, for this, I'm so excited about it. And it's a privilege to share with us because as we're sharing, we're also gaining more strength and
Absolutely.
we are all learning together.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate this, and we do appreciate all of you coming down to watch. However, make sure you help someone by sharing this so that other people could benefit from the program also. So, and I guess that's it for today. Thank you so much for coming on the show with Sharing Life Issues with Her Excellency Haji Ami. Have a good one, bro. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So, people, let's see. So, I guess that's about it. Oops. All right. Okay. So, today, my colleague had network issues, but as you can see, we always find ways to make sure that things work over here, right? That's why I always say, nobody Facebook we get. See, we used other apps today. We went into 3 different apps just to make sure we get our message passed across to you because we love you and we care about you. So I'm begging you, start caring about other people too. And know that it's not just about you. When you're an abuser, if you're an abuser and you're looking at me, there is room for you to change. And if you're a victim looking at me, please seek help and find support. Do not keep quiet and die, okay? And other people too that are enabling things, you need to stop being an enabler because remember, one day Yoruba will say, Esake, you think you're enabling things for other people. Someday it might happen to you. Even if you think you've been married for years, or it can happen to one of your generations. So we need to start thinking about that. And like I was saying earlier on, if you go back to the group, you see a movie that I posted about a guy that committed suicide. I'm begging you again, do not kill yourself. No matter what. If anyone is disturbing your mental health, respectfully check out, okay? Do not ghost them if there is no domestic violence. However, if there's domestic violence, you need to check out on the safest way that you need to check out. So I'm begging you, when it comes to marriage, I'm not in support of domestic violence. I have 0 tolerance for it. I have 0 tolerance for cheating too. Those are the 2 things that I would never tell any man or any woman to remain there for. So I'm begging you, let's start cleaning the society together and let's be that change. Sheikh Bomi, Kuna Gina, Nugo, let's not enable things, okay? Sheikh Bo. So if you have any questions, let me know. If you guys are still here, let me know. If not, I think we're good to go. If so you see how God does his things? At least our show still held today, right? So, if always find a reason to be happy, okay? Well, I know they finish. Yeah. Thanks, Dr. Fabio. Love you like you did. Yeah. Papa Daniel. Yeah. Chamber. No more lower. People ocean. And then my ocean. We can't take it to the grave, okay? So be nice. All right, I think that's about it. I'll see you guys, and we'll talk about what we do have for the next program. Keep sending in your real life stories to my DM, to my WhatsApp, and also to the group WhatsApp. There's a group WhatsApp, so be sure to send in things. Please, to those who are writing hi, hello, assalamu alaikum, can you kindly just write what you're calling about or what it is that you want to be done? All right, so if we keep responding to, if the admin keeps responding to hi, 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 it's not fair. So let's think about other people when we're doing things too, okay? All right, bye-bye.